Greetings on this rainy day in April. We're looking forward to some of the May flowers that we hope arrive after all of these April showers. This is the last day in the month of April, April 30th. It also happens to be Annie Dillard's birthday. Annie Dillard is one of my favorite writers. She's probably best known for her book, PILGRIM at Tinker Creek, that won a Pulitzer Prize for nonfiction in 1975. In the book, she has a real keen eye for detail, recording the observations about nature. Dillard was only 29 years old when she wrote that book. Pretty amazing. I'm going to read a passage from the beginning of the book. It begins, "I live by a creek, Tinker Creek, in a valley in Virginia's Blue Ridge. An anchorite's hermitage is called an anchor hold. Some anchor holds were simple sheds clamped to the side of a church like the barnacle or a rock. I think of this house, clamped to the side of Tinker Creek, as an anchor hold. It holds me as an anchor to the rock bottom of the creek itself and keeps me steady in the current, as a sea anchor does, facing the stream of light pouring down. It's a good place to live. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot to think about. Boy, what about, that's a true statement if ever there is one, especially these days. I think it's interesting to find out that when Annie Dillard was writing that book, she didn't mention a few important details, like the fact that she lived with her husband, a writing professor, and the house wasn't a walled-in the wilderness type of living a situation, much less a hermitage. Rather, it was located in suburban development in Roanoke, with a backyard that sloped down to a creek. A lot of people like me thought that Dillard wrote that book living alone in a remote cabin in the woods. I think it speaks to her creative ability to use her imagination, that wilderness is a quality of the mind. Wilderness is actually all around us in our everyday living. I share with you a few more words from her writing on creativity. One of the things I know about writing is this: spend it all, shoot it, play it, lose it, right away, every time. Do not hoard what seems good for a later place in the book or for another book. Give it all, give it now. The impulse to save something good for a better place later is a signal to spend it now. Something more will arise for later, something better. These things fill in from behind, from beneath, like well water. Similarly, the impulse to keep to yourself what you have learned is not only shameful, it's destructive. Anything you do not give freely and abundantly becomes lost to you. You open your safe and find ashes. I think these are words of wisdom in this Easter season. There's no question that we're moving through a very difficult and challenging time as individuals and as a nation and as a global community. But I'm deeply aware of the creativity that is abounding these days as well. We can't do things the way we've always done them before. We have to come up with lots of workarounds. And there's so much good and creative energy that's being expressed to connect people and to get work done. On this rainy day on the brink of May you embrace your creative spirit. Let it loose. It could just be sitting and looking out the window and discovering God's creation around you and what you see, or it could be focusing on your children, or it could be creating a masterpiece. Whatever it is, let it flow. Amen.